Where's that coming?
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Karstafen?
Here.
Mr. Elick?
Here.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Here.
Mr. Hauser?
Here.
And Mrs. Seguin.
Here.
Would everybody please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Thank you, and welcome to the January 4th, 2023 board meeting. First thing on the agenda is the appointment of president. Do I have a motion or nomination for the office of president?
I would like to nominate Greg Elick for president for the year 2023.
Okay, we have a nomination. Do we have a second?
Second. Oh,
Wow. Second.
Yeah.
I guess Elaine was first. Okay, so we have a motion for Greg Elick for president, a second for Elaine. Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mr. Elick?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Hauser?
Aye.
And Mrs. Seguin.
aye.
Motion carries. Second thing on the call for nominations, do I have a nomination for the office of vice president?
I would like to nominate Mike Gebhardt, our senior board member.
Okay, we have a nomination for our senior board member, Mike Gebhardt, to be vice president. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Annie Karstafen. Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Hauser?
Aye.
Mrs. Seguin?
Ms.
Oh,
Seguin.
aye. Yeah, I did.
And Mr. Elick.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, now it's time for the assumption of the chair. Are we going to get up and move around, or are we going to be okay? We're good? Okay, I guess we'll put this in here to make this official. All right, and we will move along on the agenda to the Board of Education items. In order for each Board of Education meeting be orderly and well-managed, the Elyria Board of Education annually adopts Robert's Rules of Order. Robert's Rules of Order will serve as guidelines for the board meetings, whether they are work sessions, business meetings, or special meetings. Do I have a motion to adopt Robert's Rules of Order?
So moved. So moved.
I have a
Second.
motion by Mr. Sequin, or excuse me, Mr. Hauser, and a second by Mr. Gebhardt. Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Hauser?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mrs. Seguin?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, then I believe all the next items will go as one motion, so we'll go right through it. The first one is to approve the resolution to appoint to Lorain County JVS District Governing Board as detailed below, and the last one will read, therefore be it resolved that the Elyria School Board appoints board member Annie Karstafen. The second one is the regular board meetings, to establish board meeting dates on the first and the third Wednesday of the month, except where noted unless changed by the formal action of the board per enclosure F4. So that would be the first and the third of every month except for what, December and July still? Okay. Student teachers, to approve the resolution to authorize the superintendent or designee to approve agreements with the universities and colleges to place student teachers and field experienced students in the Elyria School District. Reading of the minutes. To approve the resolution waiving the reading of the minutes, be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Elyria City School District that the authority be given to waive the formal reading of the minutes of previous meetings at a regular Board of Education meeting during the calendar year of 2023. The Board Service Fund. To authorize the treasurer to establish the Board Service Fund in the general fund in the amount of $10,000. Ohio Revised Code states not to exceed $2 per student. or $20,000, whichever is greater. This is for the purpose of paying expenses of the Board of Education for the calendar year. Appointment of the law firms. To approve the appointment of the following law firms to represent the Elyria Board of Education and its administrators in matters deemed appropriate for legal services during the calendar year for 2023. And the firms are listed there. Public records training, to approve the treasurer as the board's designee for public records training on behalf of the Board of Education in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 109.43B and 149.43E1. Board of Education Committee and Board assignments. To approve the Board of Education members to the following committees and assignments, and they are all listed there. And I believe that is it. So do I have a motion for all those items to approve?
So moved.
A motion by Board Member Karstoffen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Gebhardt. Any comments or questions? With none, Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Hauser?
Aye.
Mrs. Segwin?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, moving along, visitors' comments. I believe we do not have anyone signed up for today, so we will move right by that. The minutes have been posted for the December 14th, 2022, and the December 20th, 2022 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
A motion by Board Member Karstoffen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Segwin. Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mrs. Segwin?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Hauser?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick.
Aye, motion carries. Okay. Treasurer action items. Madam Treasurer.
Thank you. The action items that I have are rather routine, but the first one is to approve the standard mileage rate, and we are asking for whatever the IRS rate is to be approved. The advances from the county for taxes, it's to authorize the treasurer to seek the advances during calendar year 23. Real estate complaints, to approve the resolution to authorize the treasurer to act as the agent for the Board of Education. Purchase orders, to approve the purchase order that was presented to comply with the district's purchasing procedures. Donations, to acknowledge, express appreciation, and accept the gift that is listed. It's from the Community of Faith, UCC Women of Faith, and it was a donation of gloves, hats, and scarves. The sixth one is the return of advanced funds, to return the advanced funds to the general fund as listed in the agenda. These were grants, or these were advances that were given to these funds at the end of June, and now we're returning it to the general fund. And those are my items.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the treasurer action items?
So moved.
I have a motion by Board Member Hauser. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Gebhardt. Comments and questions? Madam Treasurer, on the ESSER dollars, are those, can you explain that, just in general, how that amount works?
Yeah, we have to make the expenditure first, and then we get reimbursed. And between when we made the expenditure and when we got reimbursed was June 30th, so we had to forward the money to ESSER to keep that in the black, and now we can give it back to general fund.
So that 2.1 million, are those dollars that have been spent or have not been? They have been spent.
Have been spent.
Okay. And then also on top of that, do we have a rough amount of the ESSER dollars still available? I mean, if you need to check, could you inform the board of that?
Do you mean available what's left to spend, or available what's left that we haven't a plan for?
Both.
Okay, because
So-
we've got it pretty well spent.
Okay,
Through 24.
through 24?
Between staff and academic tutoring and that,
Okay.
and then
So
also.
maybe what we could do is you could just send the board an update of kind of where we're at on that.
Okay.
So we'll know. Okay, super, thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Hauser?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mrs. Segwin?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, Madam Treasurer, you have an other item for us this evening.
Yes, I'm asking for your approval of the 23-24 tax budget so that I can forward it to the County Budget Commission for their consideration, and it has to be there prior to January 20th. I just want to make a couple comments on it. Everyone received the tax budget, and for those that do or don't know, the tax budget's prepared in response to Ohio Revised Code, and each county gives their requirements. And the form that you saw was from Lorain County. And this is for the for our fiscal year 23-24, if you can believe that, that's being submitted. And the purpose of the tax budget is to provide a basis for the Lorain County Budget Commission to review the district's tax rates and the revenue for the general fund, permanent improvement fund, and the bond funds. The revenue portion of the tax budget reflects total estimated revenue, including local taxes through fiscal year 24. The tax budget is based upon a fiscal year, while the tax collection cycle is on a calendar year. And that always kind of makes things a little bit confusing. But the other thing I want you to know is that the general fund portion of the tax budget includes the revenues and expenditures as reflected in the 5-year forecast that was approved in October. I'm sorry, November.
Okay.
It was November.
Okay, great, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the tax budgets?
So moved.
A motion by Board Member Gebhardt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Karstoffen. Any comments or questions? With none, Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mr. Hauser?
Aye.
Mrs. Segwin?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick?
Aye, motion carries. Any other reports this evening, Madam Treasurer?
No, that's it.
Okay. Madam Superintendent, you have action items for us this evening.
I do. First of all, to approve the 2023 officers and trustee members for our endowment board, you can see listed below. I do want to mention that Joel Siniger and Deb Warden, and I'm missing one now, Patty Steitler, they have served for many, many years and are stepping down. So we would like to tell them how much we appreciate their service. Also to approve the MOU between the Elyria City School District and the Board of Education, or I'm sorry, the Elyria City School District Board of Ed and the EEA as detailed below. Basically, there was a change in the system for evaluation through the state, so we had to make sure that our contract reflected that change. And that concludes my action items.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the superintendent action items?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Board Member Sequin and a second by Board Member Karstoffen. Any comments or questions?
Yeah, Ed Stewart was the other one that went off.
Oh, did he? Okay,
Yes.
okay, that was not a name I was
I
given.
bet you the three of them, it's probably 30
Yeah.
years experience
They were the
at
anchor
least.
from way back.
Wow.
So thank you. I will make sure Mary's working on a card from the district to thank them for their service.
Okay,
I'll
wonderful.
make sure I add Ed. I did not get that name. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Segwin?
Aye.
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Hauser?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick?
Aye, motion carries. Madam Superintendent, you have personnel action items for us?
I do. First of all, I'd like to approve the retirement of the following certified staff. We have two that we received today, Dana Garsha and Donna Johnston. Both have 34 years in our district, so long years of service. Dana is an intervention specialist and Donna a music teacher in many buildings between the two of them. They've been around the district quite a bit. So we thank them for their service. Secondly, to approve the resignation of the following certified staff. To approve the appointment of the following certified staff is listed below. I'm sure Mr. Newark, we're still in the 50s somewhere, but knowing with all the long-term sub-needs for leaves, it doesn't seem like that always. Also, to approve the following athletic supplemental contracts. To approve the following district and non-district game workers through school year 23 for athletic services. To approve the resignation of the following classified staff. To approve the unpaid educational leave of absence for the following classified staff member. And lastly, to approve the appointment of the following classified staff as listed below. And that concludes my personnel action items.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the superintendent's personnel action items?
So moved.
I have a motion by Board Member Karstoffen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Sequin. Any questions or comments? With none, Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mrs. Segwin?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Hauser?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick?
Aye, motion carries. Madam Superintendent, do you have a superintendent's report for us this evening?
Yes, just a few things. Just to let you know, on January 26th, we're really excited. It's our first home unified athletics game. I believe it's basketball, correct, Mrs. Blatt? It will be at 9 a.m. at the Elyria High School. As you know, we were really excited when we were asked to join the league. And this is where you'll see a combination of general ed and special education students playing together on the court. And it's really a neat thing to watch. And any of you that would like to come, please do. We'll send a reminder out. Also, this weekend on Saturday night at, I believe it's 7 o'clock, is the alumni basketball night. And do you remember who we play, Mr. Brown? I think it might be Berea, but don't hold that. Pardon me?
The alumni?
The alumni, I think they're just invited to the game, and they might play before, but I'll get you all the details. It's on Saturday night. And then on Friday, the high school robotics team is in the Pioneer Classic in the PAC. And then on Saturday, the middle school robotics team for the Pioneer Classic. That's a huge event. I believe there's over 30 teams that come from all around Ohio. And even, I believe there might even be some from Michigan this year. But a huge outing, and it really showcases our robotics team. And last, just to let you know, Amy Higgins and myself and Marty are beginning the work of the State of the Schools presentation. And Amy's got some unique ideas, as always, so more to come. But we're hoping to get that out in the next couple months.
Oh, great, super. Okay, thank you, Madam Superintendent. Board of Education, board members, for the good of the cause. I have, first one is I'll ask our treasurer, as everybody's aware, we've hired a new treasurer that will be starting in March. And Madam Treasurer, if you could put together for the next meeting a sort of a schedule of how the transition will occur with the new treasurer, potentially if she is going to be available to come out here. I believe I was told that she has many vacation days and she would like to start learning as soon as possible, and forward that to the Board of Education. So if anyone wants to stop out and meet with you and the new treasurer, the board members will know when. So we're very excited about that. Also, too, I'd like to say that I did observe that wonderful sign when I walked in, and I'd like to thank the Brian and the business department for such a wonderful sign. Hopefully, everybody else saw it when they.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do that.
First thing I noticed.
Okay, all right. Any other items, Board of Education, for the good of the cause here?
Just FYI, the holiday, what was that, classic or festival?
Spectacular.
Spectacular was awesome at the
Yeah.
high school. Those kids did a great job. They all came and sang and played instruments. Very nice.
We were actually showcased on CBS. I'm going to try and find the link. The Festival of Music, that last song where they all play together. There were 4 local high schools that were spotlighted, and we were one of them. So I will get the link and send it out to everyone, but pretty cool. I got a text from Cindy Andrews from the Community Foundation saying, "You're on TV." Well, I thought she meant me. And I'm like, no way. And it was our kids, which was much better. So really nice to be seen all around Ohio.
Okay. Oh, also, too, Amy's not here, but at least Marty is. I was told by somebody that they really enjoy the podcast that the schools do on the website, so kudos there. Obviously, people are watching those and very much enjoy them, so keep up the good work there. Any other items here, Board of Education? Okay, with none, there is no executive meeting, so I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Madam Treasurer, would you please call us out of here?
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mr. Hauser?
Aye.
Mrs. Segwin?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick.
Aye, motion carries, meeting adjourned.